Good evening. This is the teacher Rain, and I am here to discuss with you the nature of idioms and some examples of idioms and their origins. Okay, but this is quite interesting. I hope you will find this presentation quite educational. Now, let me start by sharing with you the PowerPoint on the nature of idioms. Okay, so here we are. Let me go to start from the beginning, the first slide. Okay, so you can see there, I have itemized the important points that I want to talk about. The first one is saying there are more than 6,000 languages the world over. So what does this mean? Each language, languages vary in terms of the speech sounds or phonemes in their inventory. Even though there are similarities, there are also differences. That's why uh, languages differ. Okay, so that's why we have people speak a language different from those from another place. So that's because of the speech sounds. I'm not saying that they are totally different, but there are uh, variations with regard to the vocals. And with regard to the rules, the principles, the structures that govern the articulation of the sounds, there are also differences. And when we go up to the next level of the language, and that is the meaningful units, you can observe there. You can also see differences. And so with the syntax, with the grammar, and also with the vocabulary. Now, why is this fact about 6,000 languages the world over is brought up? Well, if you can observe differences in on the various or at the various uh, level levels of language, then we could say the same with regard to the idioms. So each language may have idioms which are similar with another language, but there are also differences. Now, the second point here is that the relationship between language and culture. So, a good question that is usually asked is language embedded in culture or culture in language? You see, this seems to remind us of the proverbial question, which comes first, the egg or the chicken? Now, uh, both language and culture have their own systems, and they have also subsystems. So when we talk about language, this is a system uh, that this is a semiotic system. So when we say semiotic, it consists of signs which are used to convey meanings. It is a system that is used to engage in communication. And culture as a system, as a semiotic system, is also used to engage in communication. So in that particular vein, they seem to be alike. So how could we discuss the relationship between language and culture? Well, many of the aspects, activities, spheres of culture, uh, we need, use language to engage in each of them. And when we talk about language, much of language is also uh, is also associated with culture. As a system, it is influenced by culture. So, uh, for example, one language may be predisposed to using this particular set of words because the culture of these people seems to privilege the use of those words. So, circling back to the question, to that question, whether culture is embedded in language or vice versa. Well, I beg not to answer that because it seems that they seem to be in symbiotic relationship with each other. They depend on each other. They seem to realize each other, express each other. Now let us go to number three. So you can see here the pattern. Culture is related to language, and then language and culture, uh, they are about shared experiences. So all of this, the significance being conveyed by this relationship, um, connects us or brings us to the sapphire warp hypothesis. So many are familiar with what is sapphire warp hypothesis. It essentially suggests that language either determines thought or influences thought. Of course, the first one is the strong version, while the second one is the soft version of the hypothesis. So we have here, uh, this is being stand on its head, where we talk about language really uh, influencing or determining culture, not vice versa. Number four, okay, since we have talked about the Sapir Whorf hypothesis, um, the thing about language is there's what we call language universals. So no matter how different languages from each other, they share certain features. So these features are present in every language, so much so that we could say that there's what we call language universals. And this uh, brings us to the point about near universal metaphors. So, what do we mean by metaphors here? Usually, when we experience a particular phenomenon, we try to pack it using concepts. So, it's through these concepts, these cognitive tools that we can make sense of this phenomenon. So, we call these concepts metaphors. Now, if there are language universals, there are also near universal metaphors. What does this mean? So there are concepts which try to try to uh, stand for or make sense of certain phenomena which are shared or common among among people among the peoples of the earth. So uh, it's here that the idea of idiom comes up. Okay, since we talk about metaphors, uh, we have to bring up now what is what are idioms, because idioms contain metaphors. These are concepts. Now, idioms consist of a group of words or they are phrases, and their meanings cannot be analyzed by parsing the words or by analyzing the grammatical structure. So their meanings are usually derived from the context where they have originated. That's why there is no specific specific system to really analyze them. And when I say system, it should be, it should have procedures, it should have uh, steps. Idioms number five may vary, they convey similarities of experience. So, well, what does this suggest? What does this point suggest? Even though idioms from from one place to another may vary, uh, they sound different. They seem to be, they are comprised by different words. Uh, they convey similar experience. So they talk about similar experience. Okay, so why? Well, again, going back to the point that is brought, it could be because of the variation in cultures. Okay, variation maybe also in language. Number six, idioms and near universal metaphors. So, what explain this near universal metaphors that are found in idioms? Well, we have three explanations. The first one is they just happen by chance. The similarities, these near universal metaphors. The idea about why people seem to be using the same concepts, backing up the phenomenon, the phenomenon using similar concepts. Uh, the explanation is it just it is just fortuitous. They just happen, by chance. Okay, so there's no explanation, okay, aside from they just uh, came down that way. The second explanation is the monogenetic language theory. Language theory. It essentially suggests that languages descended from one common language. So in that sense, these near universal metaphors are indicative, are proof of this theory that languages actually descended from one parent language. And the third explanation about near universal metaphors is the experiences. Every human every human experience has uh, has these elements which are common. Okay. Now number seven. This is quite interesting too. So we are talking about language and culture. Both of them are systems, and both of them are meaning-making resources. So when as a semiotic system, language is used to create meanings and also to express meanings. And culture, okay, is also the same. Remember, as a system, it has subsystems, as you may call them. So when we talk about culture, we can be talking about dance, dance, song, and other forms of art. Uh, they are all they are all they they are all being used to create meanings and to convey meanings. It happens that many of these meanings expressed can also be created and expressed using language. Okay. Well, we are quite interested. Let us circle back to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. How did this theory about language influencing or determining thought come about? Well, of course, you may be familiar with, why is this theory called Sapir-Whorf? Uh, it is named after its proponents. Okay, so Sapir, I think he was a linguist, and he studied the language of the Native American tribe and tried to um, distinguish, tried to compare it with some European languages. While Warp was an engineer, okay, he was a fire engineer. So with him, we have a very good uh, illustration of the theory. So according to him, since since language somehow influences thought, it also behooves that people may behave differently because of language. Okay, how language make them think and make them behave differently. So uh, you know, usually people ordinarily, I would say, would not be cautious near an empty gas drum or empty gas drums. Uh, they they sometimes, oftentimes, okay, or we have heard of people uh, figuring into an accident because they light up a cigarette near an empty gas drum or empty gas drums. They know they're empty, and maybe there's a label there that they are empty, and that the word empty somehow affects how they uh, think of this think of the drum. But we know that it is in fact more dangerous than when it has gasoline. On the other hand, the Hopi Indians, okay, would behave differently because in their language, the word empty is not the same with how uh, it is used and how on how on what meaning it has with regard to the English speaking people, or the white people, or those, or the people in general, okay, including us Filipinos. So for the Hopis, uh, when they use the word empty, they have a word for this. It's not actually empty as in there's nothing there, because they believe that empty has some kind of spirit or something. So we know that an empty gas drum has gas vapor, which can catch up fire when somebody lights up a cigarette. So in a way, they don't, they avoid getting into a fire accident because of that, because of this, of their language in this particular instance. Another example that in some way that makes the supper work hypothesis quite interesting is the research done on the land on Setswana. This is the language spoken by a people in Botswana. So there was this study uh, where there was there was this uh, goal to find out uh, how people would identify a range of colors. There were actually 50 colors, and one interesting finding, you know, noteworthy to bring up here is that among in Setswana, green and blue, which are two different colors in the language that we know, okay, are the same in their language, okay. So there's a word for these two colors. They call them the same. So the point here is that we who speak English have two different words for this, so we will call them differently. While in those who speak Setswana, they just call them the same. So it's this is another example where a language can influence thinking. There's here two colors are not different, but they, they are the same regardless of how perception uh, seems to show that they are in fact different. Number 10, there are a lot, idioms are quite interesting to study because, also because they teach us many things about language. Okay, so for example, in English, there are at least these idioms which say be on cloud nine, be in seventh heaven. So the word heaven suggests that, are the, the association of the language to religion, in particular, Christian religion. And seven in I think in the Bible is holy. Okay, I don't know about nine, but in Lithuanian, be in the ninth heaven. That's the agent to mean also being very happy, elated, ecstatic. In German, be on cloud seven. So here you can see the similarity, the similarity conveying the idea of happiness. So there's this movement upward, and the use of words such as heaven and cloud. Okay? So um, how what explains this? Well, we could go back to the three possible explanations. This may just happen by chance, or you could choose the monogenetic theory of language, or uh, language languages and cultures share the same elements of the same basic, same sort of, excuse me, yeah, bug, so bug, so spray icon. Okay, and then in German, spring to the ceiling, go to the ceiling. So it's the action. Now, aside from the role of culture influencing how we how we how we back up phenomena. There's another also. There's one factor that also plays a role in the creation of images, and this is the physiological condition conditions. Okay. So, for example, anger is usually described, expressed in an agent or by an agent where it's being associated with the heat of a heat of a fluid in a container. So, what are the agents on anger? For example, there's when somebody says it's mercurial, when it can get angry very very uncontrollably. Okay. Another one um, is eating in anger is the the anger boils over. We say that this is connected to physiological condition, uh, because when somebody is angry, uh, what happens in the body is that the, the, the glands secrete these two hormones, the cortisol and adrenaline, which make the heart beats faster and raises the temperature, the bodily the bodily temperature. On the other hand, the metaphor for anger in one Chinese Egypt doesn't emphasize the heat of fluid. It points more to the pressure. Germans as well as the Upper Serbians uh, uses the expressions bile flows over, gall flows over. So it refers more in this language. Regions refer more to the to this bodily fluids. It's regulate certain functions of the body. Italian uses the expressions to have an outpouring of bile. Now in English, there's the idiom "go through the roof." So uh, this means being angry, or also a type of applause, which is really outpouring. On the other hand, that's the equivalent idiom in that is "go through the wallpaper." In Finnish, "jump up to the walls." In German, "climb up the walls." Now, a while ago, we have talked about same idioms. Okay, essentially, they can be, you can literally translate each other, equivalent words, corresponding words, but the meanings will be different in these two idioms. Okay, for example, in English, when you hear the word, when you hear the idiom "here stands on end," that means that that person is very afraid. While in Chinese, it actually means that person is angry. And then the same also in English, pulls one's leg is to joke, but it means different in Chinese. Okay. I think it means something negative. In English, to eat one's words, it, it means that you are, you actually, the person is somewhat embarrassed with what he has claimed. But in Chinese, it means to take back one's words. Okay, uh, walk in English. There's what we call, yes, skeleton in the closet. Of course, it means somebody's keeping sordid secrets. While walking one skeleton in Chinese so means skinny person. Historical events are also intertwined uh, in culture as they both influence the creation of idioms. Uh, how uh, how do we usually unpack like? Okay, so it's kind of a big word, but one idiom connected to life, and even it's quite common. It's quite pedestrian in Tagalog and language. Life is a journey. I used to hear my mom saying, and my father saying, uh, "I've been there, and I've already come back, and you're still on your way." Now, uh, in in Hungary, there is an agent, okay, about life. It's life is a war. Life is a compromise. Now, what could explain this agent, okay, this agent about life? Well, we have to consider, we have to note that Hungary has been through brutal wars, so much so that people have a different conception of what life is. And then there's also some mythology in the creation of idioms. So in Chinese, there's idiom "Dongxi imitates Zhishi." Zhishi, this has a little bit not so simple explanation. Dongxi is actually ugly. Zhishi is pretty. And Zhishi seems to frown. It means actually that's her reaction to something, to uh, an event or a situation she dislikes. Okay? So when somebody says, "Don't she imitate Sishu," it's like saying somebody ugly is trying to look acceptable, like Jishi. Okay, to wrap it up. There are important concepts in understanding and studying agents. Okay, and these are first. Okay, we have learned that they can be studied because experiences, human experience is shared. Okay, so no matter where we are, we essentially experience almost similar emotions, similar reactions. Okay, and events also can be identical. Second is transparency. Some idioms are easy to study, easy to understand because though there is no analytical tool to really unpack the words that constitute them, but there are some idioms which somehow give away their meanings because uh, we are plugged into the culture of where this idiom is spoken, okay? Or the culture, our culture is almost similar to to the to the to the culture where this idiom is used, where to the language and culture where the idiom is used, and differing and similar expressions of ideas. Okay, so from here, let me talk about some idioms, their origins, their meanings. Okay, so we have here, okay, number one is straight from the horse mouth. In 19th century, people will usually examine the teeth of a horse to get some information or to verify its health and its age. Uh, but when people do that, it is being perceived as a little bit rude, okay? That they are not trusting the merchant. So what does straight from the horse mouth? So when somebody says it's straight from the horse mouth, it means you should not doubt it because it comes from the person concerned instead of the one who can who can clarify the truth about about something about an issue. Number two here is let the cat out of the bag. During 17th century, merchants put pigs inside would put pigs inside pig inside a bag uh, to sell it, uh, and some would cheat by putting a cat in the bag, and if the buyer is wary, uh, she would find out later that she has been she has been chiseled. The cat will just spring out of the bag. Okay, so what does this idiom mean? Let the cat out of the bag means let the secret be known. Butter up someone. So in India, there's this cultural practice of throwing butter on a statue of a god, and the people do that to get their favor, but they supplicate be granted by the god king represented by the statue. So butter up someone means to try to sweet talk somebody, to cajole somebody to give in to your request. Pulling someone's leg, yes, that is quite easy because we know that this means to kid someone, but it actually originated from from the story. Um, says that it talks about a robber, robbers sleeping their victims. Um, Wall in sheep's clothing. So this comes from the Bible. Okay, so they just had this illustration about false teachers who would come to people in trying to present themselves as good teachers, uh, but they are actually false teachers and they're actually they want to uh, take advantage of other people. And so Jesus used this as a warning to be aware of wolf in sheep's clothing. So what does this mean? It's actually a warning also. So wolf in sheep's clothing is somebody who is trying to represent himself, uh, somebody who is not, okay, who is not, uh, uh, who is representing himself, somebody who is not, let's say, is not good, but he is actually trying to represent himself as good, hands down. So this originates from horse racing. So when a jockey is pretty sure that his horse is going to get past the finish line first. He will try to grandstand by taking off his hands from the rein. So hands down, it actually means to be absolutely sure to to totally admit to something. Riding shotgun during this could be traced during the Prohibition era. I think during the period of famous gangsters like Al Capone, Bonnie and Clyde. So a driver is a person in a car is seated right beside the driver, and he has a shotgun with him, first to protect the driver and also to be ready to shoot somebody. Barking up the wrong tree. Um, Dogs are used to hunt, and when the game, whether it's a mountain cat or maybe any large mammal, it's uh, maybe a rabbit or squirrel climbs up the tree and it is already transferred to another tree. But the dogs don't see it. They they end up barking up same tree when the game is not there anymore. So it's it's we have the idiom barking up the wrong tree. It basically means uh, when you're trying to belabor something which you're not supposed to belabor. When you're blaming somebody who should not be blamed. By the way, riding shotgun means to travel to ride a car, uh, to sit beside the driver in a car riding shotgun. Flying out the off the handle, uh, this reminds us of an axe which is uh, quite already overused, and the handle can barely hold the axe, uh, and then when the person uh, how do you call this, when when somebody hacks it, okay, hacks using the axe, hacks something or chops a wood, then the handle flies off. So flying off the handle means getting angry. I just don't know where the connection is, but that's what it means, getting angry. Maybe when somebody's hit, okay, so that person will definitely get angry, uh, angry if he's not killed, okay. Cause an arm and leg, okay. So it's the betrays to this story about the giant portrait of George Washington. Actually, there was supposed to be a portrait like that, but since the painting would be quite expensive, costly, they decided to not include the arm and a leg. So, cost an arm and a leg then means something quite expensive. Sleep tight. Well, this bring us to the wild, wild west when people sleep outside on a hammock. So the hammock is tied to uh, two trunks, okay, to opposite trunks of the opposite tree trunks, and they have to be tied. They have to be tied tightly. So when somebody says sleep tight, then sleep soundly. Bite the bullet. Well, this could be traced to the Civil War when uh, combatants, okay, from both sides, north and south, would have to go through surgery, would have to go under the knife without the benefit of anesthesia. So they were given a bullet to bite so that they get their teeth uh, stamped on the really uh, really tightly a clamp on the bullet to to endure the pain of the operation. So bite the bullet then means to accept or to go through some uncomfortably. Okay, try uh, to hold up to this uncomfortable experience. Don't throw the baby out with the bath water. So this reminds us of the time where people live in newly built community. The uh, the houses uh, badly just hastily um, constructed. They're right up the far from each other. Um, Water was really scarce. Okay, it was an expensive commodity. So people would, the whole family would bathe in the tub of water, the same water for every member of the family that has the father, and then the wife, the older children, and the last one to be bathed. The top is the baby, and by then it's really murkily, uh, murkily, filthy, dark. Uh, so. there is a chance that when when the tub is emptied with stinking water, the baby might be uh, might be thrown up with it. So don't throw the baby out with bad water mix. Uh, means uh, don't dismiss everything. The entire thing when there are some good things with it also. Jump the Shark is an agent created by a TV show. At the time that that show is in decline, so I think there was one episode where the main character jumped on a live shark in the water. The writer uh, made that line famous. Okay, uh, jump the shark means to 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 resort to something desperate. Okay, because that's what situation calls for. Turn a blind eye. Blind eye. This refers to there's a story about Horatio, Admiral Horatio, a British ship, a British sailor, a high-ranking sailor. So um, one of his eyes is blind, and then he's ordered to check on the enemy because they have to make a decision whether they're going to charge. If he wants to charge, he, he looks at the telescope. He looks through the telescope using his blind eye. So when somebody says turn blind eye means turn more arm to the teeth. Well, this you can picture a person who is ready for battle. He really wants to fight, and given a chance that he can carry every weapon that he has or carry everything with him, and perhaps even to the point that people just bite uh, something that you can use as a weapon. So armed to the teeth means uh, somebody is really prepared to fight with every weapon, with carrying every weapon that is available. Get one's goat. This again brings us back to race uh, to horse racing. Okay, so uh, before the door uh, uh, where the horse is placed, basically, but I don't know how you call that, but those not sliding doors, but those doors which spring open uh, will be the start of the race. Horses will just spring out also, will just explode out uh, from those how do you call that, those fans. Okay. Uh, Now, for a horse to be calm before the race, uh, racers would usually put goat beside it just to calm it. And um, somebody would get that goat, and that 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 would cause the horse being being quite edgy. So get one's goal is to annoy or irritate somebody. Okay, so those are quite interesting, isn't it? The nature of idioms is also um, quite, quite interesting. So I hope I'm able to share with you uh, information that you may find valuable every time you speak an agent or hear an agent. Okay, so remember, each agent has its own story, and its story is as interesting as the meaning of that agent. So with that, thank you for being with me, and